Welcome back, everybody. Aga Swiecki here from SKG. We're going to continue the subject of practicing neutrality, or the value of neutrality, how that is connected to ego and what is the value to it. I think it's a really important subject, especially now. So we're going to do it again. There's a couple more things I want to say. We try to keep these videos under 5 minutes so that they're more digestible for you. But I call this video Two Sides of the Same Story. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples and just soak it up with me and think about it, because I really want to make you think about this specific subject, because even if you think you do it really, really well, there's always another level for all of us to expand. So think about the idea of giving and receiving. Giving is more celebrated, giving is more encouraged, giving is more talked about, right? Giving gets more attention. But what about the idea of receiving? Because you really cannot be a good giver if you're not a good receiver. Because if you're not a good receiver, you're taking the giving aspect away from someone, right? Their joy is to give to you, but if you're not receiving, you're just blocking somebody else's joy. So both are needed. Both are the same, two parts of the same whole, and you need both. Now think about the idea of presenting. So let's say there's a presenter, they're going on stage, they're presenting in front of hundreds of people. That person, whether it's an actor, whether it's a simply presenter with content, whether it's an inspirational speaker, whether it's a singer, whether it's a comedian, it doesn't matter. That person is the bringer of energy, right? I'm here to entertain you, I'm here to inspire you, I'm here to move you. But then there's also the other side of the story, which is the audience, which is you. You're listening. So how are you receiving that person? Are you cheering? Are you engaged? Are you asking questions? Are you leaning in to hear more? Are you also bringing energy, right? Two sides of the same whole. Now think about when I speak from a place of authenticity. I'm vulnerable. Let's say something was really tough for me. Something was really sensitive for me, and I'm speaking from that authentic place. I'm telling my story from a very authentic place. That moves me. That's also very, very fragile place at the same time, and very courageous. So think about when you're receiving, let's say you're a friend receiving this. How are you receiving me on the other end? So I'm coming with this. What am I stepping into? Is there a large space for me to feel loved, to feel accepted, to feel not judged, to feel heard and seen? Sometimes maybe it's silence because that's all I need, right? Two sides of the same story. And now think about, let's say, a relationship. It's your friends. The marriage at some point, let's say, ends, and naturally most people will take a side, right? I'm closer to you, therefore I'm gonna take your side, and then basically dismiss the other person. And I really want you, and yes, there are certain reasons to do that, and I really want you to expand and seeing a bigger picture. Whether you take that step or not, it will really make you think, because there are two sides of the same story. The ego is very one-sided. The ego is very linear, right? There's black and white. There's a good guy and a bad guy. There's a princess and the witch, where we are capable of so much more. And ego is so small and so limited, and you only see this much versus this much of the world and people. So that's what we need to recognize. Which place are we coming from? Are we coming from a place of ego and judgment and divisiveness, or are we asking really powerful questions about what's the other side of the story? What can I learn from this? And how can this help me and others understand the world better? That's a really powerful way to be, right? So why would we do this? You might say, why are we even talking about it? Again, we talked about the benefits of coming from a place of, or operating from a place of neutrality last week. But think about this. Naturally asking, what is the other side of the story? Is there more to the story? Is a very, very, very powerful place to be. So, for example, keeps your ego in check, right? because you naturally are not going to be navigating black or white, good or bad. You're going to be asking, is there a bigger picture, right? It makes you more powerful as a human being and more powerful as a leader, because you can hold space for a lot more people. People feel accepted with you. People feel like they can show up authentically with you. They can be vulnerable with you because there's no judgment. This space is this big versus this small, and I don't know if I can fit here, right? So this is powerful, whether it's a corporate world or your personal world. It helps you manage your emotions on so many levels. Because again, when the ego kicks in, we get emotional. We want to take sides. We want to justify. And once we commit to something, we stick to it. That's also something we're going to talk about in one of the videos. It's a big one. You take more responsibility for your life in general. Personal responsibility, we talked about it. Ability to respond. So suddenly I have better responses to life and people and situations, and I'm not so reactive. What a beautiful benefit. That in itself is worth it, right? And then on a deeper level, you always create unity. You always create connections between people because you are more connected to that idea of neutrality and space and curiosity and acceptance. So whether it's a work in your community, whether it's your work in your corporate role, whether you're a leader, whether you're a leader for your kids, this is the same principle. This creates unity versus dividing people and having them feel separated, foreign, unfamiliar. It is such a powerful, powerful place to be. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.